Okay, so the article I did is titled "The Role of Parents and Teachers in the Development of Gender-Related Math Attitudes." The author that did the study continues by saying in the first little chunk of the article that girls, they tend to have more negative math attitudes, which goes back to relating to their gender stereotypes, their anxieties towards math, etc., etc. And that's compared to boys who have a better math attitude, I guess you could say. Then they continue by saying that even though girls and boys, interestingly enough, have similar math achievement scores, less girls choose to go into fields that relate to math. So, like different jobs that pertain to math and like accounting, etc., etc. And then they also choose to take less courses, like in school and college, related to math. I thought that was pretty interesting. The article continues by kind of like breaking it down by like how is this influenced by parents and teachers and how do they relate together. So some things I thought were kind of interesting was the parent and teacher, like their math, the gender stereotypes and like what they are like expecting from different genders, like girls versus boys. And it seems to be like kind of summarized that parents and teachers, they tend to like, expect girls to be more of a, like, do well in other subjects like English or something, and like they get more praise for things like tidying up their area. And then the boys, they tend to do well in the more difficult subjects like math. And so it's just kind of like stereotyped in our head that the boys are better at like the strategic thinking kind of thing in relation to math, and then the girls are like stereotyped to be better at more practical things like cleaning up and other things like that. So that was kind of interesting to read. And then this also was kind of striking to my opinion that the teacher and the parent, their own personal anxieties in relation to math may affect the student. So like if the parent at home is not confident in their math abilities, then that reflects on their child, and same for the teacher. If they're not confident in what they're teaching and how they're teaching their students aren't going to be confident in it. And that will reflect negatively, and that tends to reflect more negatively on girls. And that relates because the author also talks about how like girls are more attracted to be closer to their mom and boys are more attracted to be closer to their dad, and same for teachers. Like girl teachers tend to attract more better relationships with girls than boys attract better relationships with boys and teacher student relationships. And so that means that the girls are more likely to listen to the girls and boys will listen to boy teachers, that kind of thing. And so if they're not confident in their abilities and what they're teaching, then that's going to make them, the students, be worried about what they're doing and not trust that they're doing it well. And I thought this was also interesting because like they talked about the different treatments, like parents and teachers treat girls and boys differently, and like then that has the effect. And that they talked about again, like the tidy, like girls get more praise for things like tidiness, and they kind of get more scolded, I guess you could say, for when they're incorrect in math. And then they talked about so much good stuff, and so it's kind of hard to like summarize it all. But it was really eye-opening from my experiences to really think about that and like how we are, because I'm not a parent, but when I become a parent, my kids are always watching me, and that's the same for teachers. Our kids are always watching us, and so even if we're not confident in what we're teaching, like if we don't feel confident in the subject of like, simplifying fractions or long division or something like that, like it's kind of one of those fake it till you make it kind of things, because it'll show in how we're teaching if we're not confident. So when we're like, we're writing on the board, we can't be like, okay, I think it's, 3/6 is a half or something like that. No, we have to be like, I know 3/6 equals 1/2, and explain it, that simplifying makes that true. So just, that's how I think I would apply it to me, this article, is because we always have these little eyes watching us, little ears are always listening, and how we act and how things we say, what we do, is like super impactful on these little lives. And I just think it's important and reiterates that we're changing lives and we are raising the future. And if we want to raise doctors, we want to take care of us, we want to raise future teachers, we want to raise, accountants who are going to take care of our taxes, we need to do this right. And we need to study up, we need to be confident, and we need to get rid of these math attitudes that are negative. Because, personally, my attitude towards math isn't super positive, but reading this and knowing I'm going to be teaching these kids, I need to change my own attitude, because I want to do this right. And we need to stop picking favorites. And that article talks about that too, is like, we kind of tend to like pick favorites, and we kind of baby, like, we just need to make everything equal across the board. Don't let we need to eliminate stereotypes altogether. Like, we just can't assume that boys are better than girls in math, and we can't assume that girls are better boys than, picking up or English or other subjects like that. Eliminate it. Everyone is equal. And this starts as early as preschool. Like, that's mind-blowing. And so by the time they say it in here, like, this starts at such a young age, but by the time we get these kids in 4th grade, like, their math attitudes are established. So how important is that for the younger grade teachers to implicate such high expectations in our attitudes? And our attitude is everything. So that's pretty much what I got from this article, is that we as teachers, and even parents, this is good to keep in mind for myself when I become a parent someday, because I don't want my girls to be anxious about math like I am. I want them to have a good experience, and I hope that I can help them with that. And that same thing, I don't want my boys to be cocky, and I don't want them to think they're better than everyone else, and I want them to be helpful to the people who are struggling. And that's super important to me. It's just to overcome this this fear that seems to be coming with math. And it doesn't have to be hard. And I think if we start teaching that as soon as we can, that'll really change things. So I really got a lot from this article, and I'm super happy I printed it off, because I'm going to keep it and refer to it, because there's great information and things that we all need to remember, parents, teachers alike. So.